Hello everyone, I'm Justin, and this is a full recap of The Batman, released in 2022. If you end up enjoying this video and want to see more from us, then make sure to click that subscribe button and click the bell to know anytime we upload a new video. Since the end of Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy back in 2012, DC Studios struggled to give audiences another great live-action Batman film, with his only film appearances from then up until 2022 taking place in the polarizing Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice released in 2016, the largely disliked Justice League released in 2017, and the well-liked Zack Snyder cut of Justice League released in 2021. So, despite forming an interconnected universe that was meant to have Batman at the forefront with the since discontinued DCEU, we never actually got another solo Batman film until Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson introduced us to a whole new iteration of the character in The Batman. An overwhelming success, both critically and financially, that ranks as the 7th highest grossing film at the worldwide box office of 2022, as well as the 4th highest grossing Batman movie of all time, bringing in $765 million worldwide. As is normally the case with a film as successful as this one, multiple projects were quickly put into development to follow up the Batman's events, with the film's second part slated to release on October 3rd, 2025, and a spin-off series focused on the Penguin releasing on September 19th of this year. So, ahead of the new series, we've decided to take a look back at the original film and run down everything that took place. The movie opens on Halloween night and in the home of Gotham City Mayor Don Mitchell Jr., where he, at first, appears to be alone, but it's soon revealed, unbeknownst to the mayor, that someone else is there as well, as they suddenly emerge and brutally kill him with a carpet tucker. Also that same night, we witness as a group of thugs harass a man in a subway station, with one of them in particular being encouraged to knock the man out as a sort of gang initiation. But before they can inflict any physical harm, the Batman emerges from the shadows and viciously beats the thugs down, forcing them to flee. Shortly thereafter, Batman, now 2 years into serving as Gotham's Caped Crusader, is called on via the bat signal by Lieutenant Jim Gordon of the Gotham City Police Department to accompany him at the scene of Mayor Mitchell's murder, who they find covered in duct tape with the message "No More Lies" written across his face, and with his thumb having been severed. Also within the home, they find that the killer has left them a cipher and Batman a letter, containing a riddle that reads, "What does a liar do when he's dead?" which Batman quickly solves.
He lies still.
To decipher the other coded message the killer left behind, Batman returns to the Batcave, located within a large system of underground caves and caverns beneath Wayne Tower, where the man behind the mask, Bruce Wayne, has lived for the last 15 or so years, alongside his butler, Alfred Pennyworth, who's worked for the Waynes for many years and was left to raise Bruce after his parents, Thomas and Martha, were murdered by a still unknown assailant around 20 years ago, during Thomas's run for mayor. Now, Alfred also aids Bruce in his endeavors as the Batman, although somewhat reluctantly, as he worries about the toll this other life has taken on Bruce's physical and mental well-being, and how his actions could put Wayne Enterprises and everything his family had built at risk. But Bruce claims that the Batman is him carrying on his family's legacy of changing Gotham City for the better. Although their discussion had raised tensions a bit, Alfred does still offer him help in deciphering the message, which is revealed to be the word drive, leading Bruce to suit back up and meet with Jim Gordon in Mitchell's garage, where the two soon discover a thumb drive hidden within one of his vehicles, with his severed thumb attached to it. And on the drive are images of Mitchell with an unknown woman exiting the Iceberg Lounge nightclub, owned by the Penguin Oswald Cobblepot, the right-hand man of crime lord Carmine Falcone. So Batman heads off to the club to confront the Penguin. But, although fighting his way through his goons and being granted a moment to speak with Oz, the latter claims not to know who the girl is. However, one of his waitresses, Selena Kyle, does appear to recognize her, as Batman notices her taking a notably long look at the photos. And, after following her to her apartment, he learns that Selena and the girl, Annika Kozlov, are actually roommates. Not too long after returning to her apartment and consoling her friend, Selena once again exits and sneaks her way into Mayor Mitchell's home, from which she retrieves Annika's passport before being confronted by the Batman, who, after a brief brawl, is able to convince her to take him back to her apartment so he can speak with Annie. However, when they arrive, Annie is nowhere to be found, nor is Selena's cell phone, while on the news, a disturbing video posted by the mayor's killer, who's coined himself the Riddler, is broadcasted, in which he's revealed to have captured yet another victim, Commissioner Pete Savage of the GCPD, who Selena claims she's seen before at the Iceberg Lounge, although within its mob hangout, 44 Below. Not long following the reveal of the police commissioner's murder, Batman's allowed access to the device used to kill Savage by Gordon, in which Riddler's once again left a cipher, which appears to translate to URL Rata Alada, or Rat with Wings, alongside a letter containing another riddle that reads, "Follow the maze until you find the rat. Bring him into the light and you'll find where I'm at." To learn more about 44 Below, Batman gives Selena high-tech contact lenses with built-in cameras so he can see and ID everyone she encounters there, which includes Gotham's District Attorney, Gil Colson, through whom she's able to rather easily learn more about what Riddler had meant in his letter, as Coulson expresses worry that if the Riddler finds out who this rat, or more specifically, the informant who'd helped the GCPD take down former mob boss Salvatore Maroni and his entire operation is, it'll tear the whole city apart. That's about all Selena's able to get out of him though, before the arrival of the Penguin and Carmine Falcone, the latter of whom appears, based on their interaction, to have some sort of personal relationship with Selena, which Batman questions her about, but she just grows frustrated and removes the contact lenses. The following morning, Bruce makes his first public appearance in some time to attend Mayor Mitchell's public memorial, in case the Riddler decides to show up as well. And although Riddler himself doesn't appear before the public, the ceremony is soon interrupted by a vehicle suddenly crashing into the church, with Gil Colson revealed to be in the driver's seat, with a bomb taped around his neck, a cell phone taped to his hand, and a letter to the Batman taped across his chest. So the GCPD clear out the building, leaving only Colson inside to be met by the Batman, who, as told in the letter, answers Riddler's phone call, in which he offers Coulson an opportunity to spare his own life if he can answer 3 riddles in 2 minutes, the first of them being,
"It can be cruel, poetic, or blind, but when it's denied, it's violence you may find."
And Batman quickly deduces that the answer is justice, moving them on to his next riddle.
"If you are justice, please do not lie. What is the price for your blind eye?"
Asking how much Coulson was being paid not to prosecute certain cases, and Coulson reluctantly answers with $10,000. Riddler's third and final riddle though,
"Since your justice is so select, please tell us which vermin you're paid to protect."
Coulson refuses to answer, fearing what the rat would do to his loved ones, and so he allows the bomb to go off, killing him. Sometime later, Batman meets back up with Gordon, who's begun to believe that maybe the rat they're looking for is actually the Penguin, since it is at his club where all these corrupt cops hang out. And Batman begins to consider this as well, as a penguin could be the rat with wings the Riddler's cipher was about. So the two tail penguin that night, all the way to what turns out to be a drug lab, outside of which Batman also soon notices the arrival of Selena. They're looking to steal the bags full of cash that Penguin and his goons had brought with them. But it turns out, money isn't the only thing in those bags, as within one of them, she finally discovers Annika's corpse, before Penguin's goons suddenly open fire on her, forcing both Batman and Gordon to get involved, with the former hopping into the Batmobile and eventually chasing Penguin down in it, while Selena manages to escape with one of the bags full of money. Batman and Gordon then promptly begin interrogating Penguin, and accuse him of being El Rata Alada the Riddler had wrote about, which Penguin of course denies, while also mocking the Riddler's horrible Spanish, since it's supposed to actually be La Rata Alada. This makes Batman begin to question if Riddler had intentionally written the message incorrectly, before soon realizing that the message may actually be an internet address or URL. So he looks up rataalada.com, and the link brings him to a chat room with the Riddler, who reveals that the Penguin is in fact not the rat, and delivers another riddle.
"I grew up from a seed, tough as a weed, but in a mansion, in a slum. I'll never know where I come from. Do you know what I am?"
The answer to which Batman concludes is an orphan, which points them in the direction of Gotham's old orphanage that used to be part of the Wayne estate before they built Wayne Tower and donated it. There, they come across a projector showcasing footage from Thomas Wayne's run for mayor 20 years ago, when he'd announced the creation of the Gotham Renewal Fund. And this, paired with the messages "renewal is a lie" and "sins of the father" written across the wall, brings them to the realization that Bruce Wayne is the Riddler's next target, prompting Batman to rush back home, but unfortunately, he's already too late, as just an hour prior to his discovery, Alfred came across a package left for Bruce that suddenly exploded, although luckily he survives the attack. As Alfred's left recovering in the hospital, Bruce begins looking deeper into the Gotham Renewal Fund until he's interrupted by Selena, asking for the Batman to meet with her, and when he does, she proposes that they work together once again, this time to capture the corrupt GCPD officer, William Kenzie, who'd had Annika's corpse in his trunk. But Batman instead somewhat shifts the blame onto Selena and Ani, since their plan to rob Penguin is what got them in this predicament. And he questions just how close she had to get to him or Falcone to set up that score, to which she claims Falcone owes her that money, since it turns out she's actually his daughter. She reveals that her mother used to work at the 44 Below, even after Falcone got her pregnant. But he chose not to have any real relationship with his daughter, leaving just her mother to raise her until she was found strangled to death when Selena was only 7 years old. And when social services came to take her away, Falcone once again chose not to claim her. Now knowing the truth behind her and Falcone's history, Batman apologizes for what he'd said and ultimately agrees to help her. While the two also share a brief and intimate moment, connecting on a personal level through the scars of their respective pasts, which leads to them sharing a kiss. Upon returning to the Batcave, another Riddler message is played during a news broadcast, with this one focused on the dark secrets of the Wayne family, as Riddler reveals that, 20 years ago, there was a reporter who began looking into the Waynes and discovered that, when Bruce's mother Martha was a child, her mom brutally murdered her father before killing herself. A crime that was then covered up by Gotham's other founding family, the Arkhams, who also kept the several years Martha spent in and out of institutions under wraps. And Thomas, in response to this report, attempted to pay the reporter off, although that didn't end up working. So Wayne instead turned to a secret associate of his, Carmine Falcone, who Riddler claims Wayne ordered to kill the reporter to save his mayoral campaign. These claims leave Bruce in a state of shock and confusion, so to learn if what the Riddler said was really true, he heads over to the Iceberg Lounge and asks to meet with Falcone, who reveals that Bruce's father did indeed ask him to handle the reporter, who also happened to be on Salvatore Maroni's payroll, which has led Falcone to believe that maybe Maroni was the one who'd killed Thomas, since he'd always hated that Thomas and Carmine had history, and likely believed this business with the reporter would have kept Thomas in Falcone's pocket forever. Now filled with even more frustration and uncertainty, Bruce heads over to the hospital to visit a now awakened Alfred, and confronts him about lying all this time about the kind of person his father really was. But Alfred insists that Bruce's father truly was a good man, and that what Falcone told him wasn't completely true, explaining that all Thomas wanted was to protect his wife, and after failing to convince the reporter to stop spreading this private information himself, he, in a moment of weakness, went to Falcone so he could just scare the guy a little. But Falcone instead seized the opportunity to finally have something to hold over Thomas and killed the man. This, though, actually turned him against Carmine, as Thomas threatened to go to the police and confess everything he knew. But he'd never get the chance to do that, since he and Martha would be killed that same night. Bruce is then called away from the hospital via the bat signal, although not by Gordon this time, but by Selena, who's revealed to have captured Officer Kenzie, as well as recovered her phone, on which she plays a voice message Annika had left her just before she was killed. And in it, it's revealed that the rat is actually Falcone. With the cat out of the bag, they're able to get Kenzie to reveal that, after Thomas Wayne died, the renewal fund quickly became corrupted by Falcone and Maroni, who used it as a front to bribe government officials and launder money, which worked well for a while, until Falcone got greedy, wanting all of Gotham City for himself. So he set up a play to take down Maroni's drops operation, making the careers of just about every powerful person in the city to install them all as his puppets. Selena, with even more reason to hate him now, suggests they go kill her father once and for all, but Batman refuses, claiming that if they cross that line, they'll be just like him. So she instead heads off on her own to kill him herself, forcing Batman to chase after her, while Jim Gordon's left to release Annika's voice message to the public, which Falcone only learns about after Selena's already arrived at the club, giving her the opportunity to sneak up on him with a gun, but her shot is thwarted when the lights go out thanks to the Batman, which inadvertently nearly allows Falcone to strangle his daughter to death with a pipe.
You made me do this, just like your mother.
But Batman soon arrives and incapacitates him, before Falcone is finally arrested. He isn't in the GCPD's custody for long though, as he's then suddenly shot and killed through a window from above, leading Batman and the GCPD to the Riddler's apartment, from which Riddler's seen fleeing to a corner diner where he's finally caught and arrested. After transporting Riddler, whose real name is revealed to be Edward Nashton, to Arkham Asylum, Batman, Gordon, and a few other detectives take a look around his apartment, in which they discover the carpet tucker used to kill Mitchell, a laptop on which Riddler had been uploading videos for and communicating with around 500 of his followers, although the videos are password protected, and a bunch of messages written along the walls, including one written just beside a newspaper cover titled "Who is the Batman?" reading, "I know the real you," which leaves Batman convinced that the Riddler has somehow uncovered his secret identity, even more so after Riddler asks to meet with him at Arkham. When the two finally come face to face, Riddler continues expressing his frustrations with Thomas and Bruce Wayne, and how all of Thomas's promises of renewal were completely forgotten about after his death, since all people wanted to talk about was poor Bruce Wayne, rather than the actual orphans tortured daily like himself. But it turns out, Riddler doesn't actually know Bruce Wayne and Batman are the same person, and is just disappointed that they couldn't kill him like they'd killed all the others, since Riddler considers himself and Batman, who he calls his inspiration, to be on the same team. Batman, though, claims Riddler's just a sick, twisted, and pathetic psychopath, which greatly upsets him, since he was hoping they could watch what's coming next together, all the clues for which he'd left in his apartment for Batman to find.
Oh, you're really not as smart as I thought you were.
So Batman heads back over to said apartment and realizes why Riddler had left the carpet tucker there, as, after using it to pull up Riddler's carpet, he discovers a map of the city carved into the floor, with blinking lights placed around the edges and a message in the center reading, "A real change," which also happens to be the password for the Riddler's web video, in which it's revealed that he's planted bombs along Gotham City's seawall that are set to go off the night the new mayor is elected, which, unfortunately, happens to be right now, as multiple explosions suddenly rock the city and cause it to begin flooding. That's not all Riddler has in store though, as he's also convinced his followers to take part in the occasion, who are seen now preparing to open fire from above as the city's civilians rush to find shelter at Gotham Square Garden, with the particular goal of assassinating Mayor-elect Bella Real. But while they do manage to land a non-fatal shot through the new mayor's abdomen, their attack is soon interrupted by Batman's arrival, who manages to viciously take many of them down before being sent flying by a shotgun blast to the chest. And he's then nearly shot through the skull by the gunman, but luckily, the man's shot is thwarted by Selena, who was originally planning on getting out of the city tonight before the flood trapped her inside, and in turn led her to the garden. Shortly thereafter, the flood thunderously makes its way into the garden as well, with many of the city's civilians getting caught in it. So Batman lights a flare and swims his way over to those in need so he can guide them through the wreckage into safety on higher ground, as he, now seeing the negative effects his quest for vengeance could leave through the Riddler, and with Gotham City in a worse state than ever, seeks to become more than just something to fear, a symbol of hope. Meanwhile, back in Arkham Asylum, Riddler begins to break down, distraught after witnessing his plan fail thanks to someone who, he thought, could have been his friend. But, luckily for him, he soon makes a new friend in the form of another inmate, the Joker, who it seems has had his own run-ins with the Batman in the past. As the city begins to rebuild, Selena takes the opportunity to finally get out of Gotham. Although, before she goes, she's once again met by Batman, visibly saddened to see her leaving. But, although she attempts to convince him to join her, he refuses to give up on trying to change Gotham for the better. And so the two ride side by side until eventually going their separate ways as the movie ends. And that was our recap of The Batman. If you enjoyed the video or found it helpful in any way, then make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Also, if you'd like to hear our thoughts on the film, or where we'd rank it amongst every other Batman theatrical release, you should check out the first link in the description for our Batman movie rankings. But once again, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon.